Hello, Peter.
Oh shit. Hello everybody, welcome to the newest episode of MAFF'S Movie Show. I'm your host, as always, Philip J. Washington, and today we're going to talk about, well, what do you guys want to talk about? Oh, you want to talk about the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer? Yeah, that kind of makes sense. It's out there on the internet now. I think it's something people want to hear about. I talked about it on the first episode of this show, and it's been in the back of my mind for a long time, but I decided to just let it simmer in the back of my head because who knows when the trailer was going to come. It could have showed up in November after Thanksgiving, and I would not have been surprised. But CinemaCon in Las Vegas is happening right now, and Sony had a panel, and they released the trailer around between 9:30 and 10 o'clock p.m., I guess while you're watching this, last night. And I recorded a trailer reaction. I haven't done a trailer reaction in God knows how long, and for some reason it cut midway through, so that didn't happen. And honestly, I didn't have the craziest reaction because I was just processing. I was just kind of like, because I heard things and I wasn't surprised by other things because we've heard so much about this movie that when we finally see it, I'm just like, oh, what's actually happening?
That's Zendaya. People like Zendaya. People like Zendaya. I mean, true, Pete, true.
So let's get into the meat and bones of this trailer. So the whole plot of this movie, it makes sense that we're jumping right off from the second movie where Mysterio is dead. Mysterio reveals that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So the movie ends right there. And I'm guessing we're going to see the repercussions of what's going on based on this trailer right here. And that's going to be probably the first act of this movie, him trying to figure out what to do with this. And obviously his answer somehow is to go to Doctor Strange and ask him to possibly do a spell. And Doctor Strange says, yeah, I can do a spell for you. And it's basically going to make everybody forget everything. So that's your little catch-22. And then that's going to cause some shenanigans that has some villains from other movies break free. And I would assume Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to show up too, because you don't bring in villains from other actors' movies just to not bring those actors into this movie too. It just doesn't make sense to me. But this trailer does a good job of being a tease for people who are fans of this franchise. It gives people who don't really care as much, people who aren't in the know, a tease when they see a familiar actor, and that's going to make them ask 100 questions like, why is Alfred Molina, Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2 in this movie? What is going on? It just brings up a bunch of questions, and it's going to bring this water cooler conversation to people in all the likes. People who don't care about comic book movies, people who do care about comic book movies, people all over the place. My parents will see Alfred Molina in this trailer and be, oh, it's that guy from Spider-Man 2. It's that octopus dude. People may not recognize the pumpkin bomb or like the lightning strike. Like, we are getting little remnants of the Sinister Six here. How it's all going to culminate, I don't know. But I'm glad I honestly had the chance to redo and make a video like this because there's so much you can delve into here. And I want to have a deeper discussion with friends or anybody who would like to have that conversation. Feel free to hit me up. Here is my card. And Spider-Man No Way Home has the potential to be one of the most insane blockbusters in recent memory, or it could fall on its face and be really bad. My expectations right now, I just want it to be entertaining. That's all I do expect more from MCU movies going forward after Endgame, because you can't do the same shtick over and over again and expect people to just accept it. At least for me, I need a little bit more from my movies, and I've heard Shang-Chi, speaking of new movies and new entries, is worthy of being a good step up for these films, and I'm glad to hear that, and I can't wait to see that movie. I'm just hoping that this final entry in the Spider-Man trilogy, assuming we don't get more of them, but we probably will, is something that could really bring this whole trilogy together. And I hope that characters aren't wasted. I hope that these villains aren't just kind of, as my friend mentioned, fodder for the MCU and just used as bait for the bigger story. I hope, because these characters, especially Doc Ock and Green Goblin, played by Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe, respectively, those actors brought so much to those roles. The idea of just having them brought in to have fun, get a big paycheck, and just be a part of this world just the concept of that is hard to process because it's insane. But I would hope that they would bring them into not just to do that, but to also give them something interesting to do. You know what I mean? There is a dichotomy of sorts of thought here, where on one hand, I can just turn my brain off and just really be appreciative that they had the opportunity to bring all these actors together to do this crazy batshit movie. But at the same time, another part of me would like to have something deeper there and to have an actual story that resonates and goes further than just what people are expecting from this movie, and really bring something that people will come out of the theater really thinking about and really taking home with them and remembering, like Into the Spider-Verse, the animated movie, where it could have been just this fun, silly romp with Miles Morales, but it turned out to be a lot more. It's an inspiring movie, and it goes hand in hand with the themes of the film and its visuals, and I would love to have something like that with this movie, but at the same time, I can turn expectations down a notch or a few and realize that, at least with these movies, I'm not the biggest fan of Tom Holland's movies. I like Homecoming. Over time, I've learned, at least in my mind, to not really care for Far From Home, even though I really appreciate Jake Gyllenhaal's interpretation of Mysterio. I would like to have something cool from this, but at the same time bring something with themes that really make sense for Peter Parker's character, with responsibility and consequences. We'll see what happens with that. I could spend all day just really delving into the possible character choices they can make with these villains, but then again, all that could be flipped up with, oh my god, it's Alfred Molina, look, he's wearing glasses and he looks cool. And it's literally, you could just simplify it to that aspect if you wanted to. There's multiple ways to look at this thing, you know? To really wrap things up, because I feel like I can talk all day about this trailer and the implications and the ideas and theories and speculating about what could really happen with these characters and Peter Parker and Tom Holland and this movie in general. I think this, with Sony at least, I feel like Sony does a really poor job with movies sometimes marketing, where they reveal everything. And I feel like they've done a decent job with the past two films, but especially here, you could tell that there's so much that they're just keeping, that they're withholding. It's so much that they are just keeping in the vault. Because this does a really good job of centering and focusing on Tom Holland's character, what he's going through with himself and the characters that he cares about around him, his conflict, and how the conflict is going to open up this Pandora's box. And then you happen to bring in these characters from these other movies, and you tease audiences with an Alfred Molina cameo, which implies that this movie is going to be this insane theater experience because it's only coming out in theaters. And that's how you do it. That's how you market it. I don't know if this is going to get delayed before then. Who knows what's going to happen with the Delta variant. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 3 months. But this trailer is a great initial spark for what's to come with the marketing. And I don't know if we're going to get a glimpse of Toby and Andrew in the next trailer, if we're ever going to, or if they're going to take the Endgame route where they literally don't show anything from the last half of the movie until we see it in theaters. Your mind can just go wild with this trailer, and I love that, because people are going to be talking about this trailer until the next trailer or until the movie comes out. It does its job very well, and I'm appreciative that it doesn't spoil a whole lot and just kind of like confirms the obvious, because Alfred Molina talked about it in interviews. It's the worst kept secret in Hollywood, and we'll see what happens with the actual movie. We'll see how the quality is. We'll see if it actually works as a trilogy capper. Force Awakens, for me, was a really big deal to watch in theaters. The return of Star Wars again after the prequels, and I have such fond memories of watching the prequels in theaters. If this movie goes to that peak with bringing Toby and Andrew in this movie, even if it's for like a cameo for just like a few minutes, like a scene, I'm going to emotionally explode way more in this than I did for Star Wars. Because the Raimi Spider-Man movies literally are my childhood. So to have that return to my life, it's going to be a whole lot to process for me. I'm going to be crying in the club, as the kids would say. But I want to know what you guys thought of the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. We finally got it. After all these months, it's finally here. Wow. What do you think about the trailer? Are you excited for the movie? What do you think is happening in the trailer? What's going on with the villains, with Peter Parker, with New York City, the multiverse? Like, what is happening? Let's talk about it down below. The movie's happening. This is real life. Bring back Mr. Dinkovich's daughter with the cookies. She helped Tobey Maguire. She made chocolate chip cookies for him with a glass of milk. She deserves respect. Bring her back. Bring the father back. Bring back the guy who says, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. Bring back Rosemary Harris as Aunt May. so she can give this beautiful 5-minute monologue about life. Bring back everybody. I'll see you guys next time. This has been a delayed episode of Mouse Movie Show. Not Monday, but I was waiting for it because I kind of figured this was happening. So see you guys next week. Last up is the Matrix 4 trailer. Where are you, Warner Brothers? It's time. Sony swung. They hit a home run. What you got? Peace.